Emily Monville. I work at the International Institute of Rural Reconstruction. I am the country director for the Philippines at IIRR. IIRR is an international research and development institution, and we have been working on poverty alleviation, and we really believe that empowering communities is a key to end poverty. In Ginyangan, this is a third-class municipality, and basically, these are municipalities who really have low income level and primarily an agricultural municipality. So if you can see, there are a lot of coconuts and a lot of smallholder farmers. These are farmers who have like 1 to 5 hectares of land, sometimes 1 to 3. And sometimes some of them do not really own a land, so they are tenants. And this is where IIRR chooses to work because these are the most vulnerable sector of the society. And when you talk about, climate change, how impacts of climate change, these are the people that are most affected. For example, if you remember this morning, Gloria, one of our farmers, talked about how in Arbismen, where they are growing rice, they do not have irrigation. So they have to depend on rain-fed areas, rain for their water to survive, for their crops to survive, especially rice. In the past, they can have 2 cycles of cropping of rice. They can plant twice. But nowadays, they said because of climate change, sometimes there are like long dry spell. So they wouldn't have any rain. So they can only plant for 1 cropping. So that would mean a lot in terms of their income, in terms of the food that would be available to them. And then if it rains so hard that it becomes flooded. So I think these are the issues that the farmers here in Ginyangan are being confronted with. And climate change adaptation are some of the things that they are practicing, that they are testing to be able to resolve the problems that they are confronted with. We always say that the effects of climate change is always location specific. So what's happening in one area or one municipality far from here may not be the same. So we always start with assessment, a participatory vulnerability analysis, wherein we really look at how the farmers are being affected, what are the challenges in agriculture, in farming, in fisheries, and how are they currently coping. And I think those challenges, those problems that they are confronted with in their everyday farming activities become part of their learning agenda. This is the problem that they want to address. And from there, you say, okay, if this is my problem, it's like scientific research, right? What would be my possible solution? There are like some guesses, some hypotheses, maybe this work. And for me to know that this work, I have to test it. So that is how farmers are doing it. So we call it the participatory technology development, or we call it the participatory innovation development. At the farmer level, you have the farmer. They do not easily grab anything unless they have proven it by themselves. So that is the reason why they have this participatory varietal selection. So they are testing this saline tolerant variety, meaning they are hardy even if you planted them in a salty area. And that is what they are, testing. They grow it, they compare which are acceptable, which can grow in their land. At the same time, the taste is good, the production is good, and they can eat it and they can also sell it. We know what is going on globally. There are international institutions with some of these technologies. We also bring it to them. We have a roving workshop. We bring the farmers from Ginyangan to a province called Cavite, where you have the IIRR Center. And in there, they have seen a lot of agricultural practices that are not here. For example, they see the multi-story cropping. You know, you maximize your land. You have trees, then you have vegetables, then you also have, you know, a lot of, you know, things that you can plant. You have coffee and cacao, but they do not have it here. When they see it by themselves, they become so excited. So when you excite them, that's the time they say, oh, maybe I can do this. When I come back, I will do this, but I will maybe do it differently because my context is different and all. So there, you have really to be very creative. Farmers, they're also skeptics sometimes, so you have to engage them, and the ownership is important. Something that should come from them, not something that you force them to do. I really like the farmer, Johnny. You know, he's like an inborn farmer scientist, and he's like, you know, trying to always think about what to do whenever he have this problem. He started talking by saying farmers should be researchers because, you know, we are in the farm, we grow our crops and food, that's their life, and if something happens to it, then, you know, it will spell disaster to them because that is where they get their food, their income, their education of their children. So it's for him, it's a role of every farmer to think about what is it that they can do, how can they be creative, or we call it innovation development per se. I think through the experiences that we have working in development, we know that no organization can do development alone, especially when you talk about climate change, adaptation, and all. So everyone has a role. And for IIRR, we have been like facilitating this process of community-based adaptation, empowering farmers, building their, you know, training them on specific technologies, assisting them when they do research, and then trying to organize them into groups. But at the same time, even if you have a strong farmers organization, they do not have resources to be able to do everything they wanted to do. And IIRR as an NGO couldn't be in Ginyangan for a long time. This is where the role of the local government comes in, the municipal agriculture office, because they have the mandate to support the farmers in, you know, agricultural production and all, building their skills and knowledge, informing them, whatever. So for us, it's like linking the local government resources to the farmers organization. And again, when you talk about the whole municipality, so how can the national government or the agencies like the Department of Agriculture can provide support so that you really are able to institutionalize the whole process? So as I was saying, in a devolved structure like the Philippines, the key players are the local government. But it's at the national level where laws, guidelines, policies are being developed. And these are very important because when you have it as a law, when you have it as the guideline is there, then that is where national programming comes in. And the national programs are the ones being budgeted at the national government. So when you have that budget, then there is something that you can access for the implementation at the local government. So, and for us, we know that, you know, you have to do it both ways. Like in the Philippines, we call it the bibingka approach. Bibingka is like it's like a rice cake. When we cook bibingka, you have heat both up there and down here. So So it's like that. I think when you talk about the different players in climate change, as you strengthen the local level, maybe through the support of the local government and the NGOs, community-based organization, you should also have the national policies in place so that they meet up and each one has to be aligned. So the work that we are doing with our farmer groups on community-based adaptation, how they are testing, practicing, these are the ones that can be supported and should contribute to the achievement of the local adaptation plans. That again contributes to the achievement of the National Adaptation Plan, National Climate Change Adaptation Plan. So everyone is contributing to the national goal. So I think that's one. And what keeps me in this work is really, we know that there are people out there who really need help the most, and we should focus our attention to, no one should be left behind when we talk about development. And our smallholder farmers are the ones growing our food, so we should be able to support them and help them so that this climate change that we are talking about, we will be able to cope with and survive with. But I'm just so happy when I was talking to, I'm hearing those farmers, because I was there in the beginning when I saw them. It's like, they don't want to talk and all. But now I saw them, how they talk as if they are the expert of what they are talking about. And it's like I said, wow, this is really what empowerment is all about. Yeah. So that's what.